Good morning. Hope you had a good day yesterday, and you're going to have a good day today also. Well, we are in the book of John. We are looking at the names of Jesus. We need to know his names because, as you know, a name identifies something or someone. It tells us their characteristics, and we need to know all there is to know about Jesus because he is the one to whom we cling. He is our strength, and he is our life, as we're going to learn today. He's our everything. So the more we know about him, the more we can trust him. And obviously that's what this is all about, right? It's a faith walk. It's all about trusting him more. Well, we're in the book of John, and we're going to look at 3 scriptures today. We're still in chapter 1, and we're looking at verses 4, 5, and 9. I'm going to read them to you. Verse 4 says, "In him was life, and the life was the light of men." That is saying that Jesus is life. He's the life of men. Now we understand in Genesis where it says that God breathed, right, the breath of life, that Zoe, which is the breath or the life of God. He breathed, that Greek word Zoe is the life breath of God. So we know in Genesis that it says, and God breathed life into man, and man became a living soul. That's how people are born. Did you know that? The doctors can show you all kinds of things inside the womb and out after a baby's born. They can show you all the little hairs on its skin and all its features, and that it sucks its thumb or whatever, toenails even. But they still cannot explain how the baby's lungs go from breathing water, right, breathing the amniotic fluid in its mother's womb, and then when it comes out of the womb, the lungs switch over to breathing air. Well, I can explain that. That's Genesis, where God says, and he breathed his own life into man, and man became a living soul. So let me encourage you today, if you think that you're here by mistake, that is not Scripture. Scripture says that people are not here by the will of the flesh or by accident, but only by the will of God. Because if he didn't want you here, he wouldn't have breathed his breath of life into you, and you would have been born dead. So if you're breathing today, that is the will of God. He wants you. He wanted you to be born, and he wants you to be alive, and he wants to be your God. Isn't that exciting? Well, that's what they're talking about right here, that Jesus is that Zoe. Jesus is that life-giving source. So again, that's referring to the fact that he is God. Well, the next scripture goes even a little further than that. Verse 5 says, "And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not." What that is saying is that he's the light of the world. And if you study other scriptures concerning light, he is light. We know when we get to heaven, there won't be a need for the moon or the stars to light the night. It says that the glory of God, the light of God, is going to light the whole city. There will be no darkness. There will be no night. So Jesus is the light of the world. He's the light in heaven, he's the light in the earth, and he's the light in man. That's the next scripture that supports this. It says he's not just the light, he's the true light. That Greek word in verse 9, where it says that was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. That word there, true light, is a Greek word that means enlightenment. So now we're talking about 2 different kinds of light. We're talking about the life, the breath life that gives a human being life, and then that light that lets you know they're alive. Well, what's the light in a person's body that lets you know that they're alive? It's their eyes. It's the light in their eyes. When somebody dies at the hospital, the nurses know. They know if the person is being maintained on life support systems. The nurses know when that person has slipped away. It's the eyes. The eyes start to sink. That's when the nurse knows that person's not there anymore. It's just an empty corpse being sustained by mechanical means. You see that? It's the light in the eyes that lets us know that somebody's alive. I'm sure you've spoken to people where they're just like, there's some blank stare going on there, and you're like, hello, is anybody home? That's why we think that way, because that light in the eyes lets us know that you're alive, that you're connecting with me. Well, this true light that's being mentioned in verse 9 is talking about enlightenment. So now we're going a little further. Not only is Jesus the light of the world, that light in a person, that means they're alive and connecting with reality, but he is the enlightenment. That means understanding. You know when you're confused and you don't get something, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, and they'll do the little cartoon with the light bulb. You know, the light bulb goes off above the person's head. That's enlightenment. It's understanding. It's knowledge. It's growing in knowing. So Jesus is all we need to be alive, to be connected to reality, and to learn things that we may not know. That really excites me, that he's the giver of understanding and knowledge. So maybe today you're looking at something, maybe your boss has asked you to do something, and you're like, man, I don't know how to do this. Well, tell God. Tell him. He knows anyway. Say, God, I want to do this thing. This is the job that you've given me to do, but I don't know how to do this thing. Please give me wisdom. Give me knowledge. Enlighten my soul. And he will. That's who he is. That's what he does. All right. Well, God bless you. I pray that you'll be enlightened today, that you'll see the light of God in every human being, no matter what their walk of life is. And if they need prayer, that you'll pray for them. All righty. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.